Hi guys, my name is Karen Martin and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about forgiveness. There's a beautiful quote from Nelson Mandela. As I walked out the door towards the gate that would lead to my freedom, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison. Children at school are taught to practice forgiveness, to overtly forgive and be forgiven as prompted by the teacher when they argue or when they fight, and so children practice forgiveness very often. But as adults, we assume that we automatically forgive, I guess, and we don't need to forgive because we just do it. It's on an app. But we actually do need to consciously forgive regularly. And it's a highly responsible act that requires attending to. Our lives are so busy, so I think that there's probably many opportunities to forgive that we have simply missed. Forgiveness resets a situation to empower you and others, and it's used to improve communication, to develop and maintain relationships, and to improve cooperation and collaboration. Forgiveness releases you from the bondage of mentally managing the neural circuits in your brain of past stories and resentments, and letting go of the offenses and the desire to punish yourself and the offender. You cancel out the debt to punish or blame others.
Inner peace can be reached only when we practice forgiveness. Jarell Jampolsky. Our judgment of others might even string from the traits that we dislike in ourselves. That is, we're able to recognize the traits that we dislike in others because we see them in ourselves, judging it to be bad or wrong. So at the same time, people judge each other with the same self-imposed judgment that they have for themselves. They're judging and blaming themselves for not being ideal. But when we point the blame at others, we've got these three fingers pointing back at ourselves.
A lot of this resentment or a lot of this blame for imperfection is coming from our judgment of ourselves. So when we project our own idealisms and blame others, we're kind of being at effect. And the way through this madness is acceptance of self and others by using compassion, understanding, and being at cause. It sounds a little complicated, but the cause and effect analogy is basically cause is being responsible and effect is being more reactive.
The antidote to all this inflexible thinking is found through the flexibility to accept and the courage to forgive. Your power will always be when you are at cause rather than effect, meaning that you are responsible for your actions and your behavior, right down to owning your awareness and taking responsibility for your own emotions and reactions. To be empowered, to intend, influence, and create, you need to be at cause and in control of your emotions and your mental state. You are inflexible when you have any reason outside of yourself to be in reaction or react. Having your buttons pushed, for example, like getting upset from people talking too loudly. They're pushing your buttons and you're being inflexible rather than being at cause. Removing yourself or changing your point of view or making some request. So if you are inflexible, you're more at effect and not cause. And this can lead to resentment and unforgiveness. And also tolerance can also lead to that. So unforgiveness is often felt as anger and resentment, negative emotions. Unforgiveness can come from expecting people, situations, or things to be a certain way that matches your ideals and your values, often at a significant and stressful moment in time. This can neurologically create a kind of like a resentment trauma loop, a stagnant block of mental and emotional energy that has been created, and due to unrealistic expectations of yourself or another, that can then produce emotions of anger, resentment, judgment, and blame. While forgiveness can transform these emotions into acceptance, understanding, grace, gratitude and love, and learning experience and growth. So there is currently no universal consensus for a definition of forgiveness, but it can be regarded as a step-by-step process to move through. I like the idea of moving through or moving on from forgiveness to a place of personal healing, therapeutic forgiveness or emotional forgiveness, and empowerment through boundaries, assertive skills, and security, or more security, and protection from any further injury. And some things are more easy to forgive than others, that's for sure. But when the danger is over and there's security, and in Nelson Mandela's case there was some security, then the process of forgiving and personal liberation can occur, because it's healthy to release the emotional charge in a healthy way, acknowledging the anger and expressing negative emotions to move through from the emotions of resentment, bitterness, and hatred. Move through these negative emotions. It's not condoning evil, it's transmuting the hurt and hate into love. And it's putting mistakes in the past. And it's very much related to emotional processing, transmuting negative emotions, as well as cognitive processing, learning about boundaries, assertive skills, understanding the event and the situation that occurred, looking at it from different angles, understanding the other person's perspective. Then it's moving on in love and enlightenment, learning and getting on with it.
And forgiveness is not condoning, it's not excusing, it's not forgetting, ignoring accountability. Forgiveness is not preventing punishment or recompensation. It's not minimizing what happened.
Forgiveness doesn't even have to mean reconciling, and you can still have healthy boundaries. If you do reconcile, you have to feel safe enough and know that you can trust the person or establish healthy boundaries with them. You might have trusted someone by default or prematurely, but people have different backstories, morals, ethics, levels of character development and awareness levels, hurts and wounds, and they are different in their current values and their current attitudes, their ego development and their awareness of the greater good and their intentions. And they project that onto the world around them. So it's good to see people for who they really are and meet them where they're at. You don't have to condone any bad behavior, but when dealing with reality, it's really good to have your eyes wide open. And then we need to forgive ourselves. And it's all learning, and it takes courage to forgive. You can forgive yourself for accidentally or unconsciously being unaware or just vulnerable for being involved in a situation, not to revenge or to condone, but to take your boundaries back and respond and end the cruelty and stand up for love.
And a healthy way to deal with it is often in focused containers of time where you can consciously process the emotional and the cognitive elements in a safe environment.
Forgiveness can take time to move through, and you can often process forgiveness when you feel safe. And it's healthy to move through the process of forgiveness at a pace that does feel safe. It's great to do the forgiveness process with a trusted registered psychologist or a licensed therapist, and support yourself emotionally through a difficult time by focusing on things that you're grateful for, and spend joyful, positive time with people, places, and hobbies that you love doing. Raise your positive vibes. And practice emotional processing, living in the present moment. Emotionally forgive for health. You're worth it. And to move from those lower emotions to peace or a neutral emotional resting place is super good for your health. Turn resentment into gratitude by letting go of resentment, letting go of the past, being grateful for the present moment, finding the present gifts and the learning experiences, garnering the gifts from the situation and moving through with more confidence, appreciating your newfound good health and assertive skills, boundaries, ability to ask for help and support, appreciating the relationships you can trust. Forgiving yourself and others is a higher skill, and it's empowering and enlightening, and it's a science, it's a process, and it's a huge learning experience, because whatever happened, you don't want it to ever happen again. So you can learn for yourself, and you can emotionally forgive and spend your time and energy on things, on people that you trust, and on your goals and dreams. And focus in on compassion for yourself and others, not necessarily reconciliation or condonement, but all this is liberating. Awareness, more love, more safety, more protection, bring in the healthy boundaries. Forgiveness is an act of self-love, and it's also emotionally cleansing, because you can do more in love. Love is the backpack that you want to put on. You want to take off that old backpack of resentments, bitterness, and hate. And ultimately, you want to be safe. You want to have trusted social support. You want to have clear eyes. And you want to put out fires when they're small. So you want to see things where they're at. You want to get feedback. You want to communicate. Forgiveness facts that I love. Forgiveness is an act of acceptance, reflecting self-acceptance, love for others, and self-love. It is an extender of truth, allowing the opportunity for truth and enlightenment. It is a progressive act and acknowledges the learning process, contributing to personal growth. It releases yourself and others from disappointment, negative emotions, and gives you back more life. It can be viewed as going before a situation and offering grace instead of blame, and it's not condoning but understanding, while moving on with clarity, knowledge, and boundaries. The process can be seen as relating to emotional processing. You can engage in forgiveness when you think that you are at the effect of a situation. It can take time and can occur when you feel safe. It can happen automatically when you feel safe and you truly love and forgive yourself. It's an extender of potential towards another person, extending potential beyond the limits of tolerating someone or thing. And it's a conscious thing felt with the emotions of acceptance. You have to be present and self-possessed to enjoy it. It resets the playing field and allows room for new and positive energy. It is a tool and a higher skill. Forgiveness walks hand in hand with gratitude and grace and becomes a strength. Forgiveness opens your heart and allows you to receive more love into your life. Forgiveness can help you to make better, healthy boundaries with more accurate expectations. Grace and forgiveness releases the past and realigns the future. Preparation is also a form of forgiveness, whereby you can bypass blame and be at cause. Forgiveness is seen as anticipating others' behaviours or mistakes and preparing a considered response that extends your own scope of success, predicted and their unpredicted behaviour. You know that you've forgiven someone when you only have love for that person, that situation or thing. There will be implications and new boundaries and even letting something go, but there will be no residual burden of resentment or emotional charge. Here are a couple of affirmation statements to help you cultivate the habit of flexible thinking. So repeat after me. I am grateful for the grace to forgive. Where there is injury, allow me to forgive. I forgive and accept myself and others. Remember that forgiveness is an adaptive process and can be used throughout the day. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy this video, be sure to like it, share it with friends and family, and subscribe to support it on YouTube and to see more content. Check out the wonderful Whole Food garden, available in the link below. Thank you for watching, lots of love, and remember to live with gratitude.